Alright guys, I had a little issue here. I have an '07 Suzuki Boulevard M109R. It is the VZ 1800. I went to start the other day and I was blowing a bunch of gas out of the exhaust. So I was hoping initially for a bad plug, but I'm pretty sure I have a bad coil. So I'm going to replace both of those and put 4 new plugs in it. It's just a pain in the butt to get to. It's not that difficult. It's pretty straightforward. You have to take, there's one bolt here under the seat that holds the tank on. You do have to take the tank off. There are a few plugs underneath the tank that you kind of gotta finagle to unplug, but I just unplugged them. I didn't disconnect the actual fuel line. I just turned the tank sideways back here on the seat to get to the 2 plugs and the 2 coils under the tank. You have a plug here that is pretty easy to get to. It's beneath this chrome cover. I've already changed those 2 plugs. It's very simple. You just go in with your socket and take it out. It's just this little rubber plug that comes off the top. You have one there, and then there's another one over here on the back cylinder. It's the same setup. When I got this bike, it only had 3,000 miles on it, so I'm assuming it's the regular plug, and I just used the 5/8 spark plug socket to get those off. But let me move his tank out of the way and I'll show you where the other 2 and the 2 coils are. Alright. See, there's one of the plugs here in the front that you have to disconnect, and then there's one back here in the back that you have to disconnect. But in the front here, this is the front plug. You have 2. This one down in here, this line's in the way, but right there, that's where a plug and a coil comes from. And this is the plug for the coil itself. So just disconnect those. I had to turn these. This is the old coil and plug. The end of the plug is actually screwed into here, so you actually have to turn it a little bit to get it out. It's got threads on the end. If it'll focus. There are threads on the end of this plug that fit into the coil, so you might have to twist the plug or twist the coil on the plug a couple times to get it out. But that's the front one. I have the back one. It's right here. The back one, it's easy to get to. The front one, I had to use an assortment of socket. I had to use a swivel next, and then an extension. I couldn't get my regular ratchet in there, so I have this little, I guess, breaker ratchet or breaker bar. And you'll need 2 Allen wrenches, different sizes. If I knew what size they were, I would tell you. But to take these covers off, I didn't take anything apart. It was kind of, you had to move things around a little bit, different angles whenever you're pulling the cap off to get to it. But I did take them off without having to take anything else off. Now to remove, I removed part of this front clip here to be able to get into that plug. It's fairly simple. You have one bolt right there, and then you have one little screw right there, and then in the top there's a little plastic retaining clip that you have to take out. Now whenever this was kind of a pain to get off because it clips in there a certain way. You can see how the little clip is. So here on the back of the plate you can see how it goes in. You just kind of gotta mess with that a little bit to get it out, but it's not hard. It just takes a minute. The way I tested my coil, because you can see here that these plugs weren't getting fire. They're awful clean compared to the ones that were burning. So what I did was I took the coil that had the plug on it that looked like it was getting fire. So I plugged it in right here. Right there's one, and then over here on the back there's the other one. I plugged it in and just left the end of the plug up to where it wasn't able to arc off the frame of the bike or anything, and you just try to start it and you'll see fire off the end of your plug. I did it off both of them. It worked. So then I tried the other one, the other coil that you could tell that this plug wasn't getting any fire, how clean it is, and there was no spark. So I'm assuming that is my problem. So I think that's about it. If you have any other questions or comments, leave them and I'll get back to you. Thank you.